So you're probably all keen to find out how that frankencamera project went. I've finished with it now. The camera is ready to go back to its owner. Looks nice and tidy. An apparent Retina 3C with a Retina 1B shutter and lens assembly. So, what did I need to do to it? Let's pop the camera to one side and I'll tell you the pieces I needed to replace. Well, first of all, the cocking rack. I mentioned that the cocking rack was damaged and the teeth at the bottom here, they were damaged. So I had to replace the rack. There was no danger of using that again. Another feature was this. Now this is the film take-up spool, and you may notice that it's grey and it's got a very rough texture. That's because it's been damaged by solvent. Somebody had cleaned it with solvent and it's damaged the plastic, so I had to replace that. The next piece of solvent damage was here. This is on the viewfinder, the light meter, and the honeycomb glass at the front, the plastic piece, that's just almost opaque. It's grey, it's damaged by solvent, probably done by the same person that had dealt to that spool, I would imagine, somebody working on the camera. This piece, well, I'd mentioned this piece, of course. This is the focus scale ring, and this is a Retina 3C focus scale ring, so it doesn't match the focus distances for the Retina 1B lens has fitted. So I replaced that with one from a Retina 1B. Here we have the outer shutter case. Now there wasn't a hell of a lot wrong with this, but it was missing the connection here that clamps the flash contact in place. This was just floating free. That piece was missing, so I just replaced the whole thing. It was easier than trying to fight the little plastic connector off the other one. This piece here, this is the aperture follower ring. This one shows apertures out to f2. Well, of course, our lens and shutter only runs out to f2.8. So that has been replaced now with the correct part. I've got no idea why the shutter, which is all apparently from the Retina 1B, had this piece from a Retina 3C on it. That brings us to this piece. Now here we have the front standard, and the only difference between this and that on a Retina 1B is, of course, we do not have these little register marks here for the wide and tele accessory lenses on a Retina 1B, and since we've got a Retina 1B lens, it seemed to be the wrong thing to have on the camera, so I've replaced that section with one from a Retina 1B. So now we have the correct front standard with no marks there, because of course there's nothing to line it up against. Was there anything else? Two screws. One was a Kodak screw, but it was the incorrect one for the place, and the other one was not a Kodak screw, and it wasn't even the right thread, and that had easily stripped out. So the camera is all good to go. I was able to quite easily set the focus to suit the lens so it focuses correctly. The rangefinder was more entertaining. I have my close focus adjustment adjusted right out to the end of its range in order to give me correct focus at infinity, and also give me correct focus at the close-up end of the range. But I was able to sneak it in, only just. So it's an interesting camera. It was an interesting project, putting it all back together and making it into a proper working camera for the owner. It held some surprises along the way. Everything seemed to move relatively well on the camera when I got it, apart from the damaged cocking rack. But as I got into it, I discovered that there was an awful lot of old dirty grease, and the camera had clearly never been taken all the way down before. So there we have it, the frankencamera, all ready to go back to its owner, and I certainly haven't seen one exactly like that before, and it might be a long time before I see another one like that. Thanks for watching.